Football with friends. It's fun as hell. My name is Alex Dunlap. Oh, man, how pumped we are to be here with you guys. Of course, you see below me Mr. Cody Carpentier here joining us for a Final Takes Thursday, a Final Takes Thursday. And there's not going to be a show tomorrow, so we're going to make up for it all right here today on a big Final Takes show as we look forward not to the Kansas State game, but of course, to the TCU game. So pumped to see everybody today. So pumped for our question of the day, inspired by Anwar's questions yesterday about when to put up a Christmas tree. I think it's an excellent time to start discussing that. When's right? When's wrong? What's cockamamie? What's okay? So we're going to talk about all that. And we're also going to say hello to everybody here in the chat. Oh my gosh, Rodolfo comes in first. Colin Crowder, so good to see you. The Adjudicator. Good to see you, my friend. Blake May, Jay Ward, of course, Sandman with some kind of hook'em sign, a syringe, and a check mark. I'm not sure exactly what that one means. Ryan Foster, so good to see you. He's going for the corner. Gringo Horn, Tyler Finley, of course, Robert Kemp. Gosh, man, so happy to see you guys, and what a big show we have in store for today. We have the Final Takes. So did I win last week? I feel like I won last week. I feel like I win every week in the Final Takes game. I don't think
you cut the game off early, and I won like 58-40.
I didn't cut it off early. Don't blame me. Blame Blake. In charge of turning on the timers.
Your internet was sucking. I will say before the show started today, mine started to go laggy on us. So maybe that's the bad luck here. But yours was going laggy last week, and you're like, you know what? I got to call Spectrum. Let's call this early, and then ended up biting you in the butt.
Dude, Spectrum Business just got right out, man. I always complain about them, but here's the thing: if you do pay him this outrageous amount of money to have the business class internet, they really do fire somebody out to get it, man. They gave me all new equipment, all this. They're like, we're sorry, sir. Okay, so we have that. We have Sark had an availability today. I'm not sure if you guys heard, but apparently somebody, what did he say earlier? Quintavious Ewers. He doesn't really have a name like Quintavious. He's not Quintavious in real life, is he? That would be awesome if he was Quintavious. Quinn will be playing some other key injury things that we'll just get into before we get into the Final Takes. It's a Friday that feels like a Thursday because your boy Alex going out axis hunting tomorrow. Or whitetail hunting. We're in the rut. You never know what you're going to see during the rut. So it's just like Friday, man. It's the Ask the Boys Anything. If you guys have questions, put them in the chat, put them in the super chat. Cody and I will get to those for sure. We also have the circle lines that went up today. We'll talk about our favorite bets if we have time to get into that. Also, we have a big Thursday night football game tonight. We'll go through some prize picks and get that thing loaded up. Cody, you're not excited about Bears Panthers? Come on.
We talked about it last night on the hurdle, and Maddie's like 17-17. I don't care. This is not going to be good. I was just like, you're right.
It would be great, man. I think Deontay Foreman's going to go for over 58.5 yards rushing.
I thought you were saying 50 fantasy points. I was like,
I'm not sure about that. All right, so let's just talk about some of the highlights from Sark's availability today, just because we need to get to it because some of these are going to pertain to some of the takes from today. So before I get started with that, just a reminder, if you could please click to like the show and subscribe to the channel. We certainly appreciate that stuff. Thanks to everybody for continuing to watch, for being here in the chat with us. Also, if you have any questions that you would like to send in to me, you can always do that, alex@rosterwatch.com. Also, if you're interested in sponsoring the show, working with the show in any way like that, thanks to everybody who's reached out. That my email is alex@rosterwatch.com. If you want to send photos of your kids hunting or holding up some dead ducks or, putting up the hook'em sign, stuff like that. Blake, what is this?
Jay Ward.
This is from Jay Ward. Looks like he passed his private investigator exam.
A private investigator, a PI. Just a regular old. What do they call those? Didn't they used to call those guys dicks?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Just a regular dick, man. Jay Ward, congratulations. Let's not dox Jay Ward, please. Let's
I was
get
like 100% sure when you popped this up
his
that
address and stuff off of there. My God,
he was
Jay
like in
Ward.
jail and not actually sending that in.
The Jay Ward, our guy, man. Hey, one of us. Jay Ward. We need to send him to go spy. We need to send him to go spy on Oklahoma State practices just to get some. And just in case Texas does pull it off and make it to this Big 12 championship game, man, we can get a scouting report from old Jay Ward. All right, man. Proud of you, brother. Awesome work. What drives somebody to want to go to be a PI? You got to be you gonna do stakeouts and stuff, Jay Ward? Like, is that what
you gotta be a weirdo?
I mean, or is this the stuff where so a private investigator? That's where you get hired to, like, if somebody thinks their wife's cheating on them or something like that, they call up Jay Ward and say, like, hey, make sure and go follow her around and stuff. And man, it's gonna be interesting, dude. You're gonna have some stories. You're gonna have to break some bad news to a bunch of dudes, I think. All right. Let's see. Okay, so Sark. So the most important thing, he said that Quinn is oh gosh, Colby.
Oh my gosh, Colby.
I can't even say that. It is indeed a family show. Although Cody, I will say this, and I told Blake that I wasn't going to say it, but I can't help it. I have no filter. There has been, as I was alerted by Blake last night, there's been some discontent among one fan of the show that says he loves the show. He loves how it's family friendly, but he can't get on board with one thing, and that's that I say the HE double hockey sticks, and it's kind of part of the.
Why? It's fun as hell. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think he's maybe an older gentleman and doesn't understand that's kind of like we grew up saying this stuff is it's fun as hell, or that's awesome as hell, or it's just kind of like what we grew up saying, like, oh my gosh, look at that, that's I'd never do that. That's risky as hell. Like, it's just, you just say it.
It's just a term for emphasis. It's not literal.
Yeah, but
like adding the F word in front of stuff. It's like, that is cool. Like,
yeah, we'll see. We don't do that here. So, but
exactly, that's the point.
Yeah, I'll try to. I mean, it's the tagline of the show, but I'll certainly try not to say it as much if it offends somebody. I mean, he's a fan of the show. He loves what we do, and he's one of us. So we're gonna work with him on it. Okay. But regardless. Sark today said that we got word from him that there was the full allotment of the team was back at practice, and that Quinn he just said Quinn's going to start Saturday night. Anwar was alerted that he was going to be announcing that minutes prior to it, and whatever Anwar told us, I was like, man, I was like, that's kind of that's a little bit unsark. Like, I would think that he would, even if he knew Quinn was playing, I figured he might just say, like, we're not sure, but like, we're gonna monitor it, we're gonna see what happens, just to not let him know. I guess that he just feels good enough about it, and he wants to probably have Quinn just ready to go, and he's like, let's put it all out there. He's good, he's ready, we're back, right? But so then, of course, that's when the questions followed, asking if he's is he pain free? Does he fine? All that. Sark said that he got stronger as the week went on. There's not a throw that he can't make. There's not a throw that he can't make. He's managed the game plan really well all through the course of the week. He's not limited in any way. He's looked great to me. So that's what it is. He's expecting Quinn Ewers to be Quinn Ewers that you've been excited to get back this whole time. So that's where we are with that. We'll see what happens, but certainly just an excellent development there. Jalen Catalan will be back. Keaton Crawford will be back. Now, they'll both be available. So there can always be some semantics with the word available, right? I mean, sometimes you have somebody available as an emergency quarterback. Take Josh Dobbs last week for the Vikings. He actually had to go in though after being there for about 52 hours or whatever that was whenever he landed. But Cody, as a longtime Vikings guy, what did you could you believe that?
I tell you, I started out the day. This is gonna be a quick one. I started out the day on Sunday watching the 4 box on YouTube TV. I had Red Zone and like 2 other games on. I ended up shutting all them boxes off just to watch the Vikings game because it was irritating me so bad about how Jaron Hall started solid and how they were still in this football game despite how poor they were playing. And then Dobbs came in, turned the ball over, I want to say 3 times, fumbled it a 4th time, or had a 4th one that could have been turnover. And I was just like, this is Viking football to a T. And it would have been more so Viking football for them to drop it in the last minute instead of win it in the last minute. Like go down there and Brandon Powell drops that ball in the end zone, but instead he catches it. And I'm just like sitting here, I'm just like, this is Vikings are going to go 8-8 and we're going to be in the 17th overall pick. And it's just, but I mean, that was a performance. You'll get a performance like that like once a decade. Like that's,
yeah, man.
Maybe.
Yeah. Like you're gonna get your usual Vikings arrangement, but that was not a usual arrangement for a quarterback to come in and just
not at all.
be available, and then go in and play. But Catalan and Crawford will both be available. Obviously, if you're regular viewers or listeners here, you know that I certainly put a lot more of a premium on Catalan being back than Keaton Crawford. I'm not sure that Keaton Crawford is somebody that I view as truly like even a net positive being back, because the fact of the matter is they will play him for 35% of snaps, and he has been burned more often than any other safety on the team. So there's those guys. Oh, and then Christian Jones is fine. He's back. They asked about Kelvin Banks. Of course, Kelvin Banks is going to be back. He finished the last game, but it sounds like Texas is going to be healthier, man, than they've been in a long time. You get back Catalan. Christian Jones is back. Oh, one other thing just about the whole deal. Yesterday, we talked about the 5 knockdowns for Cam Williams. I ended up doing my deep dig column today, and I just wanted to let you guys know, because you asked what would his grade have been if not for the penalties. It would have been a 79.95.
Oh,
so
like
right at
80.
like 80 in his first start, and that's the thing. That's the thing about
that's the nuts, dude.
That's the thing about the false starts. I wrote about this, and Cody will tell you, it's like there could be players that are prone to holding, right? Like that's something where it's like if you hold 3 times in a game, that could be really telling about like, man, this guy holds. He's out of position. It probably says something about the way that he understands leverage, the fact that he's always having the hold and stuff. You could say last year with Jake Majors and in this last week with the snap infractions. We haven't seen quite as many this year. Do you guys remember last year? It's like every week, man, it was like Jake Majors with a snap infraction. That seemed like something systemic. A false start is not a systemic thing that's going to that's just those jitters getting out, man. You know what I mean? So
you expect that out of a guy in his first start. Do you expect I would expect 1 or 2 out of those, especially when an offensive line is rolling as hot as they were. And it's just like, hey, Cam, you're going to start like an hour before the game started was when that came out, I believe is what they said. Or 2 hours or whatever. So it's like, dude, he's going to be nervous.
Yeah, man. But I mean, no need to be nervous. He's too sick, man. He's too sick. The other thing I wanted to mention was we talked about the 5 knockdowns, and I just looked back during the Steve Sarkeesian era because I had to go look through this manually. It ended up taking a little bit longer. So here's the games as far as putting dudes in the dirt, right? Either throwing them down or getting pin blocks. In 2023, these have been the closest games. Christian Jones had 3 knockdowns versus Houston. Jones had 3 knockdowns versus Kansas. Kelvin Banks versus Rice had 3 knockdowns and 1 pin block. So that's 4 total in the dirt for that one. Christian Jones had 2 knockdowns and 1 pin versus Rice. As guys were getting pinned and knocked down versus Rice. Kelvin Banks in 2022 had 3 knockdowns versus Iowa State. Christian Jones had 3 knockdowns and 1 pin versus OU in 2022. Christian Jones had 3 knockdowns versus UTSA in 2022. Christian Jones had 1 knockdown and 2 pins versus ULM in 2022. The only guy that's gotten people in the dirt 5 times since Steve Sarkeesian's been here, other than Cam Williams just last week, was Junior Angelau in 2021. He had 4 knockdowns and 1 pin versus Iowa State. The other guys who did it in 2021, kind of close. Derek Kerstetter had 4 knockdowns versus Oklahoma State. Andre Carrick had 2 knockdowns and a pin versus TCU. Christian Jones had 2 knockdowns and 1 pin versus Texas Tech. Junior Angelau had 2 knockdowns and 2 pins versus Tech. Junior Angelau was good that year. Like before he got hurt, he was good. Derek Kerstetter, 3 knockdowns versus Tech, and Jake Majors in a game where he versus Arkansas, the 2021 disaster, where he allowed 3 pressures, 2 TFLs, 1 sack, and 1 run stuff. He also had 3 knockdowns in that game. So those are the games where people had at least 3. Only 1 got up to 5. We talked about it yesterday. I said there's no way I can look it up on the show, but that's where it is right now. All right. So with all that being said, was there anything else, Blake? I don't know, Blake, is there anything else from the – so it's just all this stuff about, TCU's a veteran team. It's a good defense. It's, but we're feeling loose. We have the loose confidence right now. It's going to take a team effort. I thought this was interesting. He said somebody asked what you can learn from watching last year's tape, right? It was a bad game for Quinn Ewers last year versus TCU. And we all know that was a different TCU team, better players, right? But Sark said that sometimes the quarterback can take the brunt for everybody. He said, look, I love Bijan Robinson and I love Roschon Johnson. I couldn't believe he just said, but they didn't hit runs in the right spots in that game. He just said we didn't block things up front. He said Sanders and Worthy would love to have a lot of plays back in that game. But he said the biggest takeaway after he's reading through his post-game notes, I guess he takes notes after the games just so we can look back and read them. He said that he watched it back. He read his notes, and he just said that he'd written down on his notes. He said we were really, really emotional. He said he felt like after the game that was something he needed to write down to remind himself of that. We were too emotional today, too emotional. He said game day was there. It was a night game. He just said people were just too emotional, and he said that we play our best when we're loose and we're confident. We have good energy. He said we don't need to go above and beyond what we normally do. He's basically saying if we go out there and we give our best effort, we don't need to give ourselves a supercharge beforehand. And he felt like coming into the TCU game that's kind of what happened. So other than that, he just said that Quinn Ewers has been very focused. He's in game plan mode. He's dialed in. He's highly competitive. He's excited to get out there and, compete with his teammates. He said that he went and talked to him today and felt really good about where his headspace was. So that's where we are, kind of coming into it, setting the table for these final takes that we're going to get into as soon as Cody gets back from putting up that. For such a big guy, he sure has a kind of a weenie dog breed.
Is it an actual weenie dog? Or?
No, but just kind of a weenie. It's I think he'll tell you what it's called. I think it's called like a King St. Charles Spaniel or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or St. James. I don't know. He'll tell you what this. Hey, Cody, what's your little girly designer dog breed? What is that breed?
Cavalier King Charles.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing that you might see a girl at the mall kind of carrying around in her purse and yipping and yapping at everybody.
Just a little guy like this.
Oh, okay. Well, so that's what it. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was a little bit. I thought it was kind of a little bit smaller.
No, he's about 20 pounds.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It would take a big bag to fit that dog in there into a designer purse. All right.
That would be a big one.
Final takes.
You ready? We've had some changes in the line, but it's set now at 12.5. The over/under at 55.5. Where are we at, guys? Alex?
What was the over/under at earlier? Was it 53.5?
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, was the line? Would it open at 9.5?
Well, no. I think
opened at 10 or 10.
No, I think when it first opened, it opened at 11.5, and it came real quick down to 9.5, and then it settled in at 10, right? Let me look at Cockamamie PFF Green Line.
I'm looking at unabated right now. They usually have the
Action Network says it opened at 10.5, but we know it dropped to like 9, and then now it's back up to 12.5.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, if that's what the Action Network has, they pull from Caesars. I'm pretty sure that's where Cockamamie PFF Green Line does too. So yeah. So Ewers, golly. I wish I bet on. For one, I wish I had an easy way to bet here in Texas. For one, and for two, I wish I bet on Texas. I don't like to bet on them, except for the of course the player props or the prize picks. But and the other thing is, I can't believe that they didn't know. They had to wait to react to it. Mm-hmm. We had that info before the books did in Vegas. Look at us. Look at us. Thank
you, Anwar.
All right. my prediction. I think I'm going to stay with my prediction from earlier. I predicted 31-14, and that was with me kind of baking in the fact that I was putting it at a 75% chance that that Quinn was going to play. I talked about it on the Prize Picks prediction show earlier today that whenever the line first came out or whenever this thing's been settled at 10, I was legitimately asking the guys, was that 10-point line considering Ewers? Was it considering Malik Murphy? Because the fact of the matter is, this is a team that if you just look at the kind of cross play and who's played each other and all the rest of it, it seems to me like it feels like to me like Texas, even with the Malik Murphy, considering the level of favorite that they were versus Kansas State coming into that game, et cetera, and the kind of favorites that Kansas State was versus TCU and stuff like that. That even with the Malik Murphy, they probably would have been touchdown to 10-point favorites. So that's kind of what I was working on as far as what the market was telling us about what was being anticipated. I predicted it to be 31-14. I might amend that a little bit, man. Now I think that this thing could go like 35, 38, 14 or something. I've watched TCU. I'm not that impressed by them. I always worry about Dykes. The reason why I'm not making it a 17 or something like that is because we talked about yesterday, that field goal kicker of theirs is really, 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 really struggling. So if they don't get inside the 25-yard line or so, he's on, they got to get, inside the 25, because outside of 40 yards, he's 6 of 13 this year. So very, very undependable this year as far as the kicking game. I think I'll just stick with it for now. 31-14. So Texas does indeed still cover, and it goes under.
Okay. All right. Cody?
Vote for Alec.
What'd you finish on? 31-16?
No, 31-14.
14. Okay. So you're sticking with your original number. Okay. I thought you were playing around there. I'm gonna go 41-16. Which puts it a point over or 2 points over. Yeah. I don't think what TCU can do is I don't think they're gonna be able to run the ball much at all against Texas. Nobody really can. And I think in that last game against Texas Tech, Amani Bailey had a couple rushing touchdowns. I think they tried to run the ball, it didn't work, and they ended up throwing the ball 52 times. I think I'd like to ask you this question about Jalen Catalon and what you think that means to him coming back and playing, but vis-a-vis what the defensive backs have looked like the last couple of weeks in the deep dig, because I missed that section of your show yesterday, the day before, when you were talking about the defensive side of the ball. So I'd like to hear that, but I don't think that the things TCU can do to score against teams like Texas Tech I don't think those things are going to work against Texas. I think Texas is vulnerable in certain scenarios of the game. We've seen it multiple times where they've gotten beat deep a couple times because of aggressive play. I think that maybe happens once. I got 16 here. I don't feel good about 16, and that's counting. No, that's too high. What did I say? I said a touchdown and then a touchdown with a missed field goal, so that'd be 13. Sorry, 41-13. All right, so 41-13. There you go. That's where it was. So that I had them scoring a second touchdown, but that was about it. 41-13. I just don't think they're going to be able to get much going on offense at all.
Okay. So, well, I think that's probably. I think we're thinking along the same lines there. I think my answer was probably a little bit better. So just remember when it comes time to vote. So I think we have a super chat from who's this super chat?
Jay Lee.
Lee, what's he asking? I'm sorry. I have a different page pulled up.
You once got really mad at me for implying sacks aren't everything. Does A&M leading the nation in sacks not prove that sacks do not necessarily mean good D or wins? I'm not saying I'm right or that you were right. I'm genuinely asking.
I remember that argument.
Okay, so are we talking about? All right, so you're saying A&M's not that good, but they're not leading the nation in sacks, are they?
They might be. They've got a really good defensive line, honestly.
Let's look that up. Let's fact check old Jay Lee on that. You tell me they got more stacks than like. I mean, Penn State comes to mind. But let's just. I want to make sure that we're even talking about the right thing.
I'm seeing them second in team sacks behind Penn State.
It's like Chop and those guys.
Which makes sense.
Okay. Well, so the question was, I forgot what the argument even was. Like, was he saying sacks aren't important?
He said sacks were important. You said sacks aren't everything because pressures matter. Like Baron Sarrell is the best example, right? He gets pressure a lot, but he doesn't always result in a sack. And it's about the defensive line causing pressure and getting after the quarterback more so than just being like a sack because of how sometimes sacks can be misleading.
But he's saying that okay, but
that's how I remember the conversation.
So was I saying that sacks are the end all? It doesn't.
No, he was. He was saying that.
No, I think it was the reverse.
It's the reverse, but it just doesn't sound like something that I would say to say that, you know, that this actual statistic. I mean, I do the charting and the deep dig. I chart the pressures, the hits, all the stuff like that because there are all sorts of ancillary ways. But dude, sacks are, you know, definitely. I mean, getting home to the quarterback, putting the quarterback on the ground is a absolute priority, you know, in any way that you slice it. And, you know, maybe that's kind of what I was saying is maybe I just felt like it was more important than you were saying it was. And that could have been what the argument was, but I do understand the nuance here. That's why I do the deep dig and I make sure to chart the guys and highlight the guys that, you know, lead the team in quarterback hits, lead the team in pressures, all the rest of it. But I'm just interested now. I'm going to pull up A&M's schedule and just see, like, in the games they've lost. Okay, so Miami, they gave up a ton of points. Alabama, they gave up 26 points in that one. Tennessee, they gave up 20 points in that one. Ole Miss, that was a close enough game, but they gave up 38 in that one. But some of these other games, they're not. I mean, it's not like they're giving up a total. It's not like they're, you know, it's not like all these games where it's just like the defense is just letting.
No, the A&M defense
running roughshod on
pretty
them.
Good. Their offense is atrocious.
Isn't that the problem? Is the offense? I just like it's so. I don't think that it's. I think that it's more. You know, I'm not sure that that's a core. I'm just not sure that it's correlation that that proves your point. Proves the point right, and I'm not exactly sure what the original point was, but I mean, certainly appreciate your.
I don't think he's trying to prove a point either way. He's just throwing in another. Like he said, I'm not saying I'm right or that you're right. I'm just genuinely.
Oh, I get it. I get it. No, I'm just like I'm trying to answer the question. I guess I'm probably not doing a very good job at answering the question. I'm legitimately not sure. Look, we all think A&M's underperformed. We think their defense is good. We think they have a good defensive line. The reason we do think they have a good defensive line is because they obviously have been getting home. They have talented players. That alone is not going to lead to wins. But it's certainly part of it's like they say. It's like, I mean, you know, those commercials when you were little, it's like, Wheaties, part of a balanced breakfast. It like you need a balanced breakfast of things on your football team. You can't just have, you know, if I tell you bacon's awesome, you need bacon. It's great, dude. Like bacon makes your breakfast. And that's my opinion. You can't just eat just bacon. You know, there are other things that you need to kind of win. Cody says you absolutely can eat just bacon. Yeah,
100%. 100%.
All right. So that's my final take there.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. This is an interesting one. The three most important players to Texas's success thus far in 2023. So up to this point.
Okay. I'll go.
I think you'll go back and forth, one each, and then
Can we do quick? I'm assuming we are allowed to copy.
Hold on, Christopher Lyons saying it's a bad take. Cody wins by default. What? But it wasn't even a final. It wasn't a final take. It wasn't a final. It doesn't count.
My man.
Oh, hold on. We got another super chat too. Oscars. Yeah, did y'all see this from the Lane Kiffin audio?
Man, I'm sorry, Oscar Elizondo. I didn't see that. I did see somebody talk about it on Twitter though, so I wish I had more of it. Have you seen it, Blake? Do you or Cody? Do you guys know about this? Was it something about him telling a kid who wanted to take a mental health break that like mental health breaks are for losers or something? Like
so basically, that's how I understood it. Was like the kid took like a 2 weeks off or something like this, and then maybe within his NIL he had like an insurance policy or something. That's kind of. I think that's what it said. And there was there's a lawsuit of some sort, like maybe 40 million. And basically Kiffin was like, yeah, I'm not going to
here's one of the quotes that's like on a graphic, which there's a lot. It's like a minute of him railing on this kid. But one of them is go read your blanking rights about mental health. We can kick you off the team.
Yep.
Oh gosh.
I love
Well,
that.
hold on, Ryan. Hold on, Ryan Foster sent you a video of him feeding at you. And you're feeding axes.
I'm gonna pull those in a minute. I'm gonna.
What do you do? What do you do? You send them out to ranches or something that want to have them? That's cool. That's wild, man.
Yeah, I'll pull some stuff from Ryan Foster during the break.
Ryan Foster, you need to invite the boys out there to out there to your crib, dog. Golly. Okay. The three most important. This is easy. It's Jonathan.
Make the rules. Can we duplicate or not?
Yeah.
You can duplicate. Yeah.
So look. I mean, okay. It's got to start with Quinn Ewers because he's been the quarterback, and we've seen the level of play drop off whenever Malik Murphy comes in. You know, everybody's so excited now about Quinn being back. I mean, we'll see how it plays out. But thus far, he's been a steady-handed quarterback, the most important position on the field. It's Jonathan Brooks, who's done just an excellent job as far as running the football, and it's T'Vondre Sweat, who's come on as one of the best, a guy who some people are calling, part of the best interior defensive line in all of football. It's been a major strength to Texas. It's been a while since you could just say, man, Texas, it's really hard to run on Texas. They got a wall up front. That thing starts with T'Vondre Sweat. So to me, it's Ewers, Brooks, and T'Vondre Sweat. Oh, Randy Stutter says the same thing in chat. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I don't know if I fully agree with the Brooks part. I love Brooks. Don't get me wrong, but we saw the offensive line completely come back this year, and I think that's also helped him. I think Baxter's looked, I wouldn't say equally as good, but he's looked good. I thought last week, I think I texted you in the middle of that game when it looked like Brooks was getting banged up, and I was like, dude, they just need to let Baxter cook. Like after that big run on fourth down, it looked like he was hot hand situation. I would have thought Sark would have leaned into him, but he didn't. I'm not sure. I think Brooks deserves to be up on the top three. I understand the Quinn part, of course, being the quarterback. His all of his statistics have improved monumentally since last year. Completion percentage, they're winning games. He's not throwing picks. All the big factors are kind of all hitting for Quinn, and he's been very efficient, very pro-like in the pocket, and able to get the ball to the places you need to get the ball to. So I get Quinn. I think Quinn's definitely top five. I think you probably put him top three. I would lean into that as well. Sweat's too easy, and then I want to see Murphy and Jade Barron are like three for me. Like they're like I think Sweat and Quinn 1, 2, and then I would say 3. I would put more like a Murphy Jade because it feels like those two guys on defense are like on a weekly basis they're at the center of attention, but they're not always getting their name called. But they're often like there's a reason Sweat's playing as well as he is. It's like he doesn't just dominate like he's dominated. If there's not, I don't think if there's to the level anyways, to this level, if there's not a Murphy next to him, if there's not a Baron Sorrell there, if there's not a Ethan Burke on the outside, like even he's got 5 sacks, like he's looking good. Like I think multiple things go into that. So I think I would say having Murphy next to Sweat is not quite a Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis type of situation, but it's pretty close.
Oh gosh.
And then Jade Barron. Isn't that sick? Isn't that sick though? And then like I think Barron, like it feels like earlier in the year we had a couple games where like David Binda was like a guy that you'd often see like around the line of scrimmage, and like he was going sideline to sideline, and it feels like he's kind of like backed off a little bit. We haven't heard his name at all in the last month and a half, and you've heard a lot more Jade Barron. They've blitzed him a few times. Like I think he's sneakily a pretty, what's the question? Pretty important player to the success of this season.
So where in this conversation are y'all putting guys like Jalen Ford and Anthony Hill? Are they in the conversation? Were they made? This
is just so wild. Like you could add Adnai in here too. Adnai, like you could argue that having Adnai has been one of the most important pieces just to unlocking Quinn and what Quinn can do. Because it's not like, oh, he just has Worthy. It's like, no, he's now got a dude that's going to be in the NFL, like a top 50 pick in the NFL, that Adnai Mitchell, that can take over a game. Like, like Isaiah Nair wasn't doing that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole different dynamic. Like, you could argue he could be in that conversation too, as well as Anthony Hill, as well as the tackles.
Wait, so Cody's just going to name just every.
No, he has his 3.
No, I said my 3.
Who are your 3?
I said my 3. I said Quinn, Sweat, and then Murphy.
All right, fair.
Yeah, but I had Murphy Barron like right there. And but then Blake asked the question. He's like, well, where do you have these guys? And I was like, I think. And then I said, well, you could put Adnai in that same honorable mention conversation.
No,
my point was just to prove the depth of like important players on this team. It's
correct.
It's absurd. You could list 10 guys that could be in the top 3.
Hold on. How do we have the CWD talk going on in the chat, and I don't get to be involved in it one bit? Look, we're gonna talk about this in just 1 second, but then we'll get back to final takes next.
I'm taking the 3 points.
Yeah.
And I'm putting the pressure on Texas to score points. This is an incredibly gutsy call, especially since Kansas State's been pretty terrible in this part of the field offensively. They have not completely known who they want to be. I think they've wanted to be power run game with the quarterback, and it hasn't worked all day. And the thing that they've spread Texas out and been very good just moving the ball like an actual offense instead of like caveman. All right, here we go. It's 4th and goal. Kansas State is going for it. They're in 12 personnel. They got 2 tight ends on the field. They got 3 backs. They got 3 to the left. There's nothing there. Howard he's going to get sacked. He throws the ball up. It's incomplete. The Longhorns have won the game in overtime.
Wow. How about that? Found a way out of it.
And they went gimmicky on their final play of the game. They ran trips to the left, a single receiver to the right, and they go right in terms of the direction, and it's covered, and there's no secondary option. And Howard is on his back foot trying to figure out what to do. He stumbles. He just throws the ball up in the air. It could have been an interception. It gets dropped, but the ball game is over. Final from DKR, 33-30. Longhorns hold on. And Chad, I would have taken the field goal.
Man, oh man, absolutely.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yes, we're back. It's Football with Friends. So happy to be here with you guys, everybody in the chat. And of course, dude, I'm pumped to get to go to Specs right after the show's over. I got to get my Casamigos to make the ranch waters. I got to get the beers to put in the koozies and roll around the ranch on the ATV with my let the kids go out for the rides. All right, let's take a look at this. Oh my gosh, look at some of those.
Holy cow.
Amazing. Those are big. Look how wide the one is over the second one to the left. Yeah, that's the best looking one.
We got some more stuff too.
Dude, I came home from the grocery store there at night at about 10:30. I went there late and I came home, and I live in a residential area. Like there's no woods around us. There's no lakes around, no river, no nothing. And I get out of my car and there's a 10-point buck standing on the side of my house in the pitch dark. Couldn't see him until I got out of my car walking down the little walk. Scared the living out of me, dude. It was wild. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in like it was like 15 feet away from me, just a 10-point. It wasn't big by any means, but
that's quite that's quite a herd. And you know what Ryan Foster was saying. He's saying that he likes to he does the axis because for one, they're not regulated in Texas. It's considered I can't believe it. I love it because that means I can hunt them all year round. I don't have to I love to hunt them during this time of year just because this time of year is when I go into deer camp and there's always people there and you get to hang out with folks and stuff. But I mean, you can still like.
Can you hunt them at night? Still, is that?
Yeah, I don't, but yes,
I don't either.
Yes. You can spotlight them. You can do
totally on.
I mean, there's not a single regulation against it. They consider them a threat to the whitetail population. They consider
just like a pig.
It's like a pig or a coyote or just anything like that.
Wow.
And you can do whatever you want.
I didn't know that.
Tasty pig / coyote or whatever you want.
I was saying like rules wise, like it was just like it's just fair game.
See, so here's the thing is what with Ryan Foster, he's saying basically, and this does happen on the whitetail because with the CWD stuff with now in Texas, it used to just be, it was found in the breeding. They first found it in the breeding facilities down there in oh man, I forgot what town it is. Golly, I can't believe I forget the name of the little town. It was the one where they had a, I don't even know. But they found it there, but then they ended up finding it in some free ranging mule deer out in West Texas, and they finally found it as some free ranging whitetails that were just east on I-10, east and south of Junction. There's also a containment zone in a few other areas, right? And they're doing this stuff where you have to contain them. But here's the thing is now with the new regulations that they're putting on breeders, he's right, man. My buddy who's a breeder, like the state can just come in and they can like make you pay all this money to test all your deer. And if one of them has CWD, you got to like you got to eradicate the herd, all this stuff. They don't do that with Axis for two reasons. One, they're completely unregulated as a wildlife species. For two, there's no proof. There's actually good proof that Axis don't get CWD. So,
dude, this is the best looking black buck I've ever seen. What a beast.
Yeah.
Look at the curls. That's how many curls? 4 curls? Almost 5?
Yeah.
That's a monster black.
My buddy invited me out to his ranch to go shoot. He said I could shoot a female black buck. I was like, dude, yes, man, I'll be out there any day. He said I can't shoot one of those that he says people pay too much money for those big ones like that. But he said, dude, if you want to come shoot a female, you're all good. I said,
I think about the female black buck. They're like the size of a dog.
That's what he said. He said basically, you like once you quarter it, that's going to be like the quarter will be the meal. You're not going to get a whole get a whole bunch.
5.5.
Yeah, but
have curls. That's unbelievable, dude. What a monster black.
What a monster, Ryan Foster, dude. What a G. And here's the other thing is I wanted to say this, the one thing about what Jay Ward was saying. I feel like they probably need to take some steps for the CWD stuff, but some of it, I do agree, man. Some of it feels like it's kind of over. Feels like a lot of it's kind of overkill. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not sure. Would you eat a deer, Blake, that you knew wasn't? Have I ever asked you this before? I think I have. I think you said no. You wouldn't eat one that you knew had CWD.
No, I probably wouldn't.
Even though it's never jumped, it hasn't been proven to be a zoonotic disease.
Yeah, everything jumps eventually. I don't want to be ground zero.
Let's hope this doesn't, because that will kill.
That would be devastating.
Hunting. And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry here in Texas. All right, final takes. Let's get back to it.
Okay, I've got a good one. I know this one may take up the whole segment here, but total number of Longhorns to play in the Senior Bowl plus the Shrine Bowl. Cody, sorry,
this is deep.
We
just texted about this last night. And I was like trying to think about that because I was like, Kansas State just had Colton Beebe and Reed Sinat get called last night. They get invited last night to the Senior Bowl. And I was like, all right, when's the Texas one coming? Because I think it was a year ago. It was like November 17th or 18th that Roshan and Overshone got theirs respectively. So that's like next week. So it should be sooner than later. We obviously Alex had Jim Nagy on. So total number.
I also had my talk yesterday that I think that Quinn Ewers is the perfect candidate to play in the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Did we figure out even though he's a redshirt sophomore,
doesn't matter? All underclassmen, all underclassmen,
draft eligible.
Yeah.
Wow.
But Cody, wouldn't that be a perfect thing for because Quinn? It's like it feels like these questions have popped up around him. It feels to me like he's set on going to the NFL. What a great place to answer the questions. I was saying yesterday, it kind of reminds me of like a Daniel Jones or a Jordan Love or a Josh Allen or one of these guys that comes in during that week and makes the case that he deserves to jump up and be one of these top picks. Now that you can do it if you're an underclassman, doesn't it seem like a perfect for a guy that's seemingly kind of slid this year, a perfect opportunity for a guy like Quinn? I mean, and especially with how good he always looks in practice settings. I mean, I don't know. It's like, to me, maybe I should keep my mouth shut.
I think also given his projected draft capital, I know that's been kind of a hot conversation. Some people still think that it's higher than it is, but I think. But I'd like to hear what you think, Alex, because I've obviously said my piece in the chat that I think he's dropped. I think at one point he was a top 40, top 50 guy, but I think now at this point, I think he's more looking at that super late second, and I think the third is wide open. I think the third is a great area of range to project him right now, given the question marks that are around him, body size, I think arm strength overall, and I think the injury question is gonna be there. I don't think he's a day one starter in the NFL either. So I think that a lot of those questions come to the table. So I do think that when all those things are at the table, if he declares, which you think he does, that I do think the Senior Bowl would be perfect for him, because that's like the perfect draft capital where he's looked at as probably in that second, third area, whatever it is, and there's room to grow. And I think that Nagy would love that, to have him come down there and imagine him having just like a ridiculous week and like playing against the kid from Tulane who got the first invite the other day. I can't remember his name now offhand. Starts with a P. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Him go down there against guys like that to that level and just like run it and just own the show. Like
it brings a lot of attention to the game to have the star Texas quarterback there, man. I think it makes too much sense. And I told everybody in the chat yesterday that I had the idea just here on the show. I know that it's not out there right now. It's out. It's people aren't thinking there's levels to this. I think so much of the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Game. Whenever Blake mentioned Quinn, it went off in my head, and I just said I'm going to be insufferable whenever he gets an invite. I'm going to come on this show and just talk about the whole show about how right I was about all this.
Yeah, I heard you say that.
So how many you think, if you have to put them together? The Shrine Bowl invite. I think it's going to be a grip of guys.
I think it's going to be What about the Shrine Bowl? I think it's going to be a weird factor because it's in Dallas or Frisco. I think that's going to be a weird. There's going to be a dynamic there where it wouldn't shock me if more Texas guys go to the Shrine Bowl than the Senior Bowl, because it's in Texas, B, it's NFL regulated, it's the 99th year, and they're making a point to prove. I mean, we've talked about this. I think that they're obviously making a big push for this thing. Next year's the 100th year of the Shrine Bowl. Like they're trying to do it. They're trying to do the damn thing, and I think that's the bottom line. So I mean, again, you just as big as you bring up the head of the game being a Texas quarterback, I think the opposite. Well, no, I shouldn't say the opposite. It also goes for the Shrine Bowl. Is like they're going to Texas. Why not get as many of the Texas boys as possible?
Yeah, it makes sense. And there's also too many. You can't. I mean, what's the most number of guys you've ever seen from one school at the Senior Bowl? Maybe like Cincinnati a couple years ago, the year that Ritter was there, or with Ritter, and Pierce, and those guys. They had a bunch of maybe like
3 Nevada guys that one year.
Yeah, but I mean, it hasn't been more than like 4 or 5. I mean, so what is your total number of players?
I don't think Xavier goes to 1.
No,
I don't think Sanders goes to 1.
I don't either.
If Murphy comes out, Murphy probably doesn't go to 1. So those are 3 guys I'd mark off.
I just wrote down my list, so I'll give mine.
Okay, you can go first, because I'm like at the middle of it.
I think T'Vondre Sweat will go. I do think to 1. I do think Byron Murphy, if he came out, would go to 1. I think I have my cockamamie viewers idea that I'm going to be insufferable when it's right. Jahdae Barron will certainly go to the Senior Bowl. Jim Nagy's been on him the whole time. Jalen Ford will almost certainly probably go to the Shrine Bowl. Ryan Watts will go to one of the 2. Christian Jones will almost certainly go to the Senior Bowl. And I think Jonathan Brooks would be another guy that would go to one of these if he comes out. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is my total. It's going to be a lot of action to cover for these, man. It's going to be we're going to have a lot of fun covering these games for everybody here on the old Football with Friends YouTubes.
Okay. So I think you hit most of them. I would say JT Murphy don't go. I would say Barron, Christian Jones, Sweat, and Watts to the Senior Bowl. So that's 4. And then Quinn, Ford, and Brooks to the Shrine Bowl. So that's 3. And then I also think Alfred Collins is a potential.
Collins will go to 1, absolutely.
Collins to the Senior Bowl probably because I'm sure Nagy's been on that, and the NFL loves the length and all that jazz. So I think that's also a potential. What about? I know this is kind of a random one because we haven't seen a ton, but we did see a little bit of a flash, and just the type of player he is, Jordan Whittington.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's like the epitome of a old version of a Shrine Bowl guy,
like
right?
A
You know what I'm saying?
Nakua type of a guy.
It depends. It depends if it's a situation where you think the Shrine Bowl is actually
he might get chopped because of the
actually elevated, right? You know what I mean? Like if the level of player is actually elevated because of the underclassmen, but just with the way he's the epitome of the kind of guy that they used to want, right? Guys that they can go and they can show how well they excel on special teams. They have the longer special teams periods of the Shrine Bowl, all the stuff like that during those practices. So I think that Whittington, like I need to add, I think Texas is going to have 10 players in these games.
Wow. Yeah. I got 5 to the Senior Bowl, 4 to the Shrine Bowl. I'll put Whittington on the Shrine side. So Quinn, Ford, Brooks, Whittington to the Shrine Bowl, and then Barron, Christian Jones, Sweat, Alfred Collins, and Watts to the Senior Bowl, and then the 3 I mentioned before.
Oh, you're crazy. So you're not sending Jade to the Senior Bowl? Nagy loves Jade almost the most.
That's the first one I said.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right,
so it's 2 4s, 5 to the Senior Bowl, 4 to the Shrine Bowl, 3 that don't go. So that's 12 possible drafted.
Man, it's going to be a crazy spring with all those guys.
A good question would be how many go to the combine, but it doesn't matter. We have a million of these to get to.
That'll come eventually.
Yeah.
Let's get back to the game this weekend, and I want to ask y'all: is this the remaining game that poses basically the biggest threat to Texas, the best opportunity for Texas to be upset, or is it one of the final 2?
No.
Do
you think it's Iowa State?
Yeah, I think Iowa State poses a threat. Obviously, they made that a night game, right? And it's going to be a blackout in Ames. Like that's going to be, yeah. But then that final one, the nice thing is that Texas Tech one being at home, so that one scares me a little less. I do think I respect that coaching staff better than I do the TCU one. I know you like both of them, but I think if I had to, McGuire scares me a little more than Sonny Dykes does. So I think Iowa State does, though. I think that's the one. Just because of the quarterback play right now, Chandler Morris is not expected to play, and I think he's a better quarterback than I can't remember the kid's name now for TCU.
Hoover.
Yeah, Hoover. I was going to say Hannon, but I didn't want to mess it up. But, so yeah, anyway. So I think that makes. I think Iowa State's playing better at this point.
Is Rocco Becht still their quarterback?
Yeah.
Has he been that good?
I think he's playing better than expected. I don't think he's been like great by any means, but let's see here. Yeah. They lost by touchdown to Kansas. They beat Baylor, Cincinnati. They beat TCU by 2 touchdowns a month ago.
Yeah, that's probably
Rocco Becht, 1,900 yards, 13 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
What's his completion percentage?
His completion percentage has risen 45, 57, 60, 61, 77 each of the last 5 games.
Coach's son, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's getting better. You can see trend line.
I don't know. That's the one that kind of makes me nervous.
I agree with Cody, but I still think that I still think you should vote for me. And is the poll up yet?
The poll is up. People can vote. You can only vote once.
Make sure and vote for Alex. Hey, can we put up a link to merch? Let's put up a link to the merch. We have Football with Friends merch that you guys can buy. We have nice hats, T-shirts, anything you could want. You can just scan the QR code there, or you can.
Fun as heck, man. Fun as heck.
Yeah, you can put Blake will put a link to the merch in the chat, and you can find it there as well. Also, if you guys could please remember, I have notes here to say, remind me about merch. Remind you to like and subscribe to the show. You can just click like below. For every like that you get, let's say for every like that we get today, that'll be 1 yard that Xavier Worthy goes for receiving in this game. Okay, so let's see if we can get it up to 100, like 120 or something like that. 120, 130 likes, something like that. Like, don't you want Worthy to bounce back with a big day? Golly, it's free to like it. It's free to subscribe. Also, if you'd like to email me anything about the show, if you'd like to work with the show, if you have suggestions for the show, if you'd like me to say HE double hockey sticks less often, you can always email Blake, all that stuff, and he'll make sure.
Please email that to me.
He'll make sure and get it over to me. Text guy 2 says still with crappy cotton T-shirts. No, listen, nobody ever got one of those crappy cotton T-shirts.
No.
No, man. I made sure to
They're
order
nice
them.
tri-blend shirts.
I made sure to order them. I made sure to order them all myself before we put them out. And I even took that cockamamie shirt down because it looks so bad. So there we are with that. Everything on there has been definitely tested for sure.
Quality assurance.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So we have much more final takes to get to today. I think we could probably get to another one real quick, Blake.
Sure, let's do it. How about this one? We're just talking about Xavier Worthy. Has he hurt his draft stock this season?
I think so.
I don't.
Okay, well, I'll give you my take. So it probably won't be as popular. I think he. Look, the stats might be. It's funny. It's like I chart every single stat for the team, but I can't tell you what his receiving numbers are off the top of my head. His receptions. Can you look that up for me, Blake? Xavier Worthy, receiving yards, receptions, all the rest of that stuff. I think for a guy that's getting, these last 2 weeks, he's gotten a 36%, a 40% target share in important games when he needed to help elevate his quarterback. And I know that some of those throws were off a little bit, but it wasn't just that where his hands issues were kind of starting to show. I mean, he's gotten 25 targets over the last 2 games, and what has he done with them? There's just been some things with the hands that have cropped up. Last year, he could blame it on the broken hand. As far as this season, so what does it say? So, he's got 620 yards receiving and four touchdowns so far. Is that right? That's not like he's not gonna, Cody. He's certainly not gonna have one of these high dominator ratings. You know what I mean?
He had 980 yards as a freshman and 12 touchdowns. His breakout's going to be like 18.7, and his dominator is going to be fine.
I understand that the breakout age is going to be awesome. The dominator,
it's going to be like 78th, 85 percentile in there.
That will not be 75th percentile. It's going to be
70
for that.
I'll bet you right now. A cocktail, a cocktail shrimp in Indianapolis. That his dominator is north of 75.
North of the 75th percentile among wide receivers. All right, I'll take that bet. I'll bet it's like 65th percentile, 64th. But I guess it'll depend on how he ends this season. I just think the issues with the hands have cropped back up, man. I like people are going to worry about it. And whenever you're talking about the things, it's funny. You're saying all this, the 18.7 breakout age and the almost 1,000 yards as a freshman and stuff. And the actual question is, what has he done this season? Has he helped or hurt it? You know what I'm saying? You keep going back to freshman year.
I didn't go back to anything. I just told you what the numbers were going to be. I think that he hasn't hurt his draft stock because of the talent that's around him now versus last year. Last year, Jachivian Sanders, Jordan Whittington were the 2 guys that were right below him. Both those guys had over 600 yards. Worthy had 700, and he came into the season with high projections. He had 9 touchdowns last year. And this guy named, I believe it's Adonai Mitchell, came over here, and he now has what's he got? 8 touchdowns on the year?
He seems to get one.
8 touchdowns on the year, right? 8 touchdowns on the year, 576 yards. It's a different level of talent that's in the room with him right now, and I think that these guys work off of each other. Also, in the press conference on Monday, Steve Sarkeesian was asked the question, why hasn't Worthy done much the last 2 games? And he said, well, Worthy also hasn't gotten any pass interference or holding calls called against him. So, and as you talked about Sarkeesian going back last year to games and making notes and stuff, he talked about going back every game and sending a pile of penalties or penalties that weren't called to the referees and stuff every single week. And I think that he mentioned that while Steve was talking about Worthy, and I think that's a big part of it. So I think when you're looking at Worthy and what he's done, I think it's stayed consistent. I don't think he's elevated his draft stock by any means. I think what may hurt him in the long run in this draft is that other guys around him have elevated their draft stock. So that's only bringing more guys into the first round conversation. Now, does that make him fall out of round 1 to like the 35th pick, which is the first receiver taken in the second round? Possibly, but I don't think that's like a thing where it hurt his draft stock. I think it's more so about other people in college football elevating their draft stock. Does that make sense? So he's been equal. I just don't think he's risen or fallen. I think he's been what Worthy was.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, maybe a better way to phrase it for the way that I answered it is, has his draft stock fallen? That's kind of when I feel like it's fallen. I don't feel like, people were talking about him as like 12th overall, 16th overall. I don't see any way that happens at this point.
Okay, well, look at like the Quinn thing. Quinn thing is like, people were talking about him being a first round pick. You could say that he's helped himself this year and how he's played, but his draft stock's fallen.
Well, right. Well, I think
See?
I think that. Well, okay. So, I mean, I think you and I are just answering different questions, and for that reason, I would vote for me because I was answering.
I was just telling you how I answered.
This is cockamamie. I demand a recount. Look, Blake. Who's actually winning right now?
You are.
Alex is winning pretty handily at the moment.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Look. We have more final takes. Blake has a whole grip of these things. We're gonna get to them all next.
He talked about injuries. He actually did not say specifically what Christian Jones' injury was. He acknowledged that he was injured, acknowledged that guys were fighting through injuries. We talked about Kelvin Banks going down, Henry Connor going a little bit, but no, he did not say anything about the specifics of Jones. I think that got kind of lost in the shuffle when it was all said and done.
Because kind of dishonest about that as well, because he was asked about any other injuries that we haven't talked about, and that never came up.
But he was very happy with Baxter and Brooks. Both of those got not only Baxter getting that touchdown, but he was also very happy that both guys, Baxter, I think, was close to 100. Obviously, Brooks goes over it. And so, he was really happy with being able to have those running backs back there and what they were able to do. Somebody asked him, the funniest question, somebody asked him about what's it like to have a guy like Bert Auburn for you. And he started talking about he's a guy that he has a lot of faith in. And I was like, wait a second. For real? Are you messing with us? But he did. And him having faith in Bert Auburn is probably not that I believe to be true. I just think Stark has more faith in himself as a play caller than anything else, that he's actually going to have these plays work. But I think at the end of the day, Catch, when it was all said and done, and those are kind of the only real specifics, everything. I never actually, when I say real specifics, I've gone through most of the press conference. At the end of the day, he went back to hey, he felt like it was a culture win for them. He felt like, yes, sure, they could have played better. Absolutely. But he said they found the way to play better at the key moments, when it counted. He talked about being down, on the 4 or 5 yard line and then 4 straight snaps, and his defense was able to get the stop when they needed to. So, that it all goes back to, hey, it didn't go perfectly, but at the end of the day, it's 8-1. He said 8-1 sure coming to you at 8-1 sure feels a lot better than it would be at 7-2. And he's like, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
Oh yes, we're back. Football with friends. I wouldn't be apologizing for it. You can't ever apologize for one of these wins. How cockamamie is that? Blake, is it raining where you live?
Mm-hmm.
We've been getting a nice soak. It's going to ruin some of my plans. I got this coyote, man. Cody, since you were here last, I've lost either 2 or 3 of my chickens.
No.
This coyote has started getting this this cockamamie daylight savings,
mm-hmm.
and we never got to have that discussion on the show this week. By the way,
the dumbest thing of all time.
I just don't get it. What is it? For the farmers, man? The rooster crows at the same time every morning. It's like, why do we change the times? It's one thing that I've truly never understood. So if anybody in chat knows, but anyway, so when I get off the show at 5:30, I'm always I always have stuff to do. After this, I'll have to do some rankings and things. By the time I think about it, I'm the chicken. I'm gosh, it's dark outside. I need to let the chickens in. And it's been like 3 times, man. This coyote comes up and he's getting brazen. He's coming up onto the top lawn, Cody, up by the pool, and he or she is just taking them. So I had big plans. I was gonna have some fun today. I was gonna just go walk out there, hide in that little area, kind of back behind the pool chairs. Just take the shotgun out, just leave the chickens out as bait, and just buckshot that thing, hang him up for the other coyotes to let them know what's waiting for him.
Drain him from the tree.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it today. It could be too wet, and I don't want to I don't want to get out there and get too wet. So, golly. Anyway, fine. What, Blake? I'm too sweet, man. I'm
with you.
Come on, man. I'm totally made of sugar here. Let's
What were the names of the chickens that he got?
Dude, he got my favorite one yesterday. So that's when I said I'm finally gonna kill him. He got which was the one he got? He got
the white one with the green streak still there?
He got Angel, the one of the two white ones, and then he got pizza yesterday, which is my favorite.
No,
the little tiny pizza. And so it's like now I'm just that coyote's as good as dead. But I don't know if I'm gonna get it done today. We'll see. I'll report back on Monday. I would rather put an axis on the ground this weekend than a coyote. But all right, final takes.
Let's do it. Ooh, how about this one? Let's talk a little Malik Murphy. Has he shown enough in Ewers' absence to make you confident that he is the lead on Arch coming into the spring?
Woo! Coming with some fire. I'll give you my answer. No. It's like you tell me that Malik Murphy's won a job based on the resume he's put on tape these last two games. I mean, look, and I completely agree with what Sark said. Malik Murphy he's now played at least, and he's shown the level he can play at, right? The level that I talked about on the Prize Picks show today, the level of like every friend I have that never watches that has a Texas football game that on TV is texting me and saying, "Oh my God, look, we find like Quinn Ewers stinks compared to this guy. Holy cow! Finally a downfield pass. Alex, why didn't you tell me about this guy?" All this, and the text slowly but surely kind of tapered off.
Not too slowly. I think it happened pretty quick.
Yeah,
reception happened.
He needs to cut out the turnovers and all the rest of it. I think he came in. He looked like an inexperienced quarterback, but there's the one thing that'll always sort of that I'm going to remember moving forward into the offseason about what Sark said when he just totally like high key mentioned that Arch Manning brings a whole different dimension with his legs. And if you have a young quarterback that can slip out and do things with their legs, that's obviously something that Sark worries about, right? He worries about these quarterbacks that can hurt you like that. He worried about it with the K-State guys. He worried like heck about it with Dylan Gabriel. He worried like crazy about it with Jalen Milroe. He understands that's an important part of games that can bail you out at a certain point. He said that Malik Murphy's just not that. And so we've seen the flashes of high-level arm talent. I think that he needed to probably come out and put together maybe a little bit more of a complete game, and one of those for me to say that he's just got a resounding lead against Arch coming into it. I'm on the same team I've always been on. I think Quinn Ewers leaves, and I think that it's a full blown like people on Orange Bloods being like zoo animals in cages, flinging their excess waste at one another, like just yelling about no my guy, like that's what it's going to be this spring. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and people are going to be interested in coming to see the fallout from all those conversations on the message boards, I'm sure, and here on the YouTubes. But
how would you handicap it right now?
That's what I've always been like. I think it's going to be a competition. I don't think this is something where Arch Manning's just going to go, I know he's happy to sit and he's happy to do all this. And the plan all along was for him to redshirt. And then Eli Manning even said, I even liked redshirting and then sitting behind a guy. Like, kind of giving the idea that if that occurs, it's fine. And I think that they are a family that has a plan and they're going to take it slow but steady and they're going to stay the course and all the rest of it. But you can't say that there's not going to be anything that's going to that Malik Murphy all of a sudden now it's like, oh gosh, what I've seen, he's going to be named starter coming into spring. It's like, no, that like I don't think that's quite there. Major Alexander saying that his buy-sell went ghost. So
I got it. We'll wrap it up right after this conversation.
I think the question being, did he show enough in Ewers' absence to make you confident he has the lead on Arch? Is false, obviously. I think that's the most apparent thing because it's going to be a competition. It was a competition, I think, coming into the year for the number 2 spot, as it should be. And I think I would give the upper hand to Arch. I think at this point, but I do think things that Sark said about Malik and when it started to fall apart is he directly correlates it to his footwork. And he says Malik knows that. And every time we go back and look at it, it's that. I just sent this over to Blake as well. Like, this is something I saw, and just seeing 12.3 average distance of targets. He pushed the ball. I think that was the big thing. And you mentioned a minute ago, and I put up a video this weekend, and I was like, this is something we haven't seen consistently out of Quinn is putting the ball out there and giving guys continuous opportunities. And that just changes the entire dynamic of a football team, I think. And they can run the football. They can use JT in the middle quadrants, Whittington in the middle quadrants, and Xavier Worthy everywhere. But getting that next level, that third level, I think is a game changer. And they showed for that first quarter. That's why you got those texts, Alex, from everybody, including myself. And I was like, I'm sitting there that first quarter, and I'm like, this is the best team. This is the best quarter. I think I texted you this. I said, this is the best quarter of football I've seen out of any team all year. And I've seen all the top teams play. And that was the most complete quarter I've seen. And they walked Kansas State and I was like, whoa, like, this is not what I thought Kansas State was. And then everything shifted, of course, on that one interception that was supposed to go to Jonte that he fell on. But I think Sark hit on it. He's like, it directly correlates to his feet. When his feet aren't where they need to be on passes, it's not good. When they are, you can see what he is. And I think that's something he'll just have to continue to work on. You see this with quarterbacks. Everything takes time. Different things take different quarterbacks longer. But I also do think Sark talked about Arch. I want to say I think it was Monday, about how I think it's sneaky, how big and strong he is and athletic he is and things of that nature. I think that was one of the things he said he learned from Arch so far this year in practice and stuff. So, and he said he could get the ball anywhere. He also said he could put the football anywhere, and he knows how to put the football where all the receivers want it, which I think is a sneaky thing, because that's what I'm talking about right now with Malik. Like, Malik showed he could put the ball down the field, but if Arch can do the same thing, but be more accurate and show that he can utilize his legs on the ground, which is something Malik and Sark said Malik's not comfortable doing right now. Like, what are we doing? The math ain't math. And if you're thinking Malik's going to start next year off the rip.
Yeah, I was going to say, when Malik knew where the play was going to go, when it was part of Sark's opening script, he was money. But once that script ran out, he threw that interception, lost a little confidence, started to throw off the back foot, and then it just reeled. But at the beginning, I mean, people have kind of forgotten like how great that first quarter was. It was phenomenal. There were people on the watch along chat saying, "Oh, there he is, our new starting quarterback. Who cares about Quinn?" And then it's a quarter later, they're like, we kind of like,
where's Quinn?
Yeah.
Is he gonna be back next?
Right.
Give him the tour at all. Yeah.
We'll stop everything for Major Alexander, throwing another 20 in addition to his by yourself.
Man, thank you so much, brother. Thank you so much. Major Alexander, what I've come to realize is a rich man, and so we certainly appreciate you spreading a little bit out, brother.
He's got a good question too.
Okay, buy or sell if Quinn plays well Saturday in a big win. Texas passes Oregon in the CFP.
Now, keep in mind, real quick, Oregon plays USC this Saturday.
They're going to walk them like a dog, dude. They're going to walk them like a Shih Tzu. It's not even funny. Like, I don't think this USC team's not good. Like, Caleb's good, but this defense is miserable. It's been miserable. They give up 40+ to Cal, Colorado. Like, everybody's in a game against them. And when the going gets tough, like you saw Washington start to pull away. There's a reason Oregon is favored by 6.5 against Washington right now in the Pac-12 championship. Like, there's a reason Oregon looks like the best team in football, I think, anyway.
Well, that's why they're ranked above Texas in the.
That's why they're ranked above Texas, and I saw it come out on Tuesday, and everyone, follow all the Texas people, and they're like, "This is BS. Texas should be ranked higher." And it's like, well, no. I think if you look at what we've seen, like look at the field, look at the game. I think Oregon's a better football team right now. Oregon would run ship on a lot of football teams. And the difference is, and you guys talked about the other day, is like, I think the reality is that it's not always just because you beat somebody early in the year that you're just grandfathered into being ranked ahead of them all season. Like, I think it's teed up at this certain stage for Alabama to win the SEC. And I think if they do that, they'll jump Texas in any scenario.
No.
100%. They teed it up for you. They play Georgia. If they're going to play Georgia SEC championship,
If Texas wins out,
Texas wins the big. Listen,
just the
Texas
committee's just going to say, "Oh no!" Even though Texas beat them,
correct.
Put them ahead. Well, then there would be riots in the streets, and people would.
No,
say,
this is what I'm saying though. But they're showing you this. They're showing you this with Oregon, where they ranked Oregon and Washington back to back. The current Vegas line is literally 6.5 in favor of Oregon. Oregon lost to Washington, right? And in Washington, nonetheless. And Bama lost to Texas, and now Bama's right behind Texas. I'm not saying Bama would beat them, but I'm not saying that I don't feel a different way about Jalen Monroe than what we saw. And all I'm saying is they've teed themselves up and everything. They've been very fishy about everything they've talked about. And I do think that if Bama were to win out and Texas were to win out, I think that they would make themselves have a very interesting conversation to say we can put Bama over Texas.
That's not an interesting conversation. That's a conversation between two crazy people at the loony bin, Cody. That's not.
I'm just being honest.
But well, look, it's just if they say that, and it's two teams that have played. And here's the thing about Oregon. I mean, Jay Ward makes a good point. It's like what 320 top 25 wins for Texas. Oregon's had a much easier schedule so far. Like if they're going by style points, let's talk about if style points are if that's the important thing, or whether it's just the eyeball test alone. Saying that to me they look like the best team in the country. Well, who I mean, who've they played? Right?
Alex, tell me this one right here. So Ohio State wins out. They go 13-0, number 1 seed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Florida State already in the top 4 wins out 13-0, number 2 seed, right? Alabama beats Georgia in SEC championship. Georgia's currently in. Alabama's currently out. Does Alabama get in, or does Georgia get out?
Well, then it becomes that becomes tricky then with the Georgia
because they're not going to run this thing with no
the
SEC.
fact of the matter is Texas should always have a trump card in saying, all right, if you're only picking 4 and it's going to be a binary between Alabama and Texas has already shown on the football field that it's a better team than Alabama.
Can I tell you what Brian Jones said to this exact question about an hour ago on House Divided?
Yeah.
We might get hosed.
We're gonna get hosed. That's what I'm trying to get at, is that they will not have this thing with no SEC team in it. If Ohio State wins out, Florida State wins out, Oregon beats Washington, those 3 teams are in buckets right now.
You got to start rooting for these underdogs in these games, man. You need either USC or Oregon State to beat Oregon. Penn State beating Michigan, I think, would help. I don't know.
Because Texas hasn't dominated anybody but like Baylor and bad teams. They haven't dominated. They haven't made a point. And all. And Oregon just has done the inverse. They've done that. And if Oregon can avenge their one loss, that's kind of their trump card to say, well, we're automatically in. So then that's Ohio State, Florida State, Oregon, and then it comes down to Bama and Texas and Georgia and Michigan and Washington. If Washington lose, Georgia loses to Bama. I think the way they have it teed up right now, they don't want to do it right now. They don't want to say put Bama ahead of Texas right now and because there's no real reason to do that. But what I'm saying is if Bama runs it and wins out, yeah.
All right. Well, all right, fine. So, all right, fine. So, all that to the side, let me ask you about this scenario. Okay, you're selling a house in DFW and you want to sell it for free. What are you going to do? Like it seems impossible, right? But all you got to do is call Val Garcia. Val Garcia, Valen Realty, of course. Man, one of us. He texted me after the show just yesterday. Talking about it, he said he was watching with his Oklahoma State daughter, and they had some laughs and stuff. Man, Val is he's probably posting here in the chat as we speak. And if you work in education or you work in the ministries in the DFW area, he will sell your house for free. He gave back $65,000 in fees last year just because those are his people, man. And Val is our people as well. And so if you tell him that you heard about him on Football with Friends, he is going to sell your house for literally half price, 1.5% agent fee, 1.5%. He's going to save you $10K, $15K, $20K. Even if the college football committee does something cockamamie and listens to Cody about him saying that he wants Alabama to go instead of Texas.
Never said that.
and you're just heartbroken over that, and they do something so stupid. look, you can still take that money and you can upgrade your kitchen. You can do a million different things with that extra cash. It would be foolish if you're anywhere in the DFW area not to go with Val Garcia. He's going to save you at the very least half of your fee. It's insane. And the other thing is, he's an awesome dude. He's super cool. Look at Val. Look at Val. Who would you want to work with over Val Garcia? Anywhere in the DFW area, Val and Realty, Val Garcia. You can find him valandrealty.com. The phone number is 469-647-8729. He's our guy, man. Val Garcia is one of us. valandrealty.com. Check him out. All right. So what do you guys think? Are we ready to move on to the
I don't know. It sounded like y'all were just getting cranked up.
I was gonna say, what was even that question? I don't even remember what the question was.
Oh, about how Texas, if they get swindled, if Texas wins out, then they get put ahead of Oregon.
Oh, but yeah, I don't think they get put ahead of Oregon. But the thing is, man,
I think there are gonna be riots in the streets, man. If Alabama goes in over, people will look at it like they'll just be like they'll have this anxiety and this like fervor to them. It's like we can't trust our football institutions anymore. It's like they're doing something that we don't understand. It's like none of this makes sense.
It's gonna be 2008 all over again, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that to me, they're gonna have a lot of explaining to do if that's the case. And look, for Texas fans, I think that like Texas fans right now, you could probably ask them and say, would you take that? Would you take that sort of being up in the air and it's the night before the CFP and that's where you are and that conversation's going on? I think you'd say, yeah, I'd take it. And even knowing that kind of swindle could occur, I think though what Texas fans would hope for the most is that if a situation like that were to unfold, at some point Alabama would lose to Georgia, and then it takes that question off the table.
Bingo.
Right now, Oregon
also Texas has to beat Oklahoma State,
and Texas would right. I'm saying if it were to be like that, right? I think the ultimate is Texas wins out, Alabama at some point loses to Georgia. Then it becomes the whole issue with Oregon. If they put Oregon in over Texas, you can think that the system's flawed and everything, but you can't think it's fundamentally crooked. The same way that you would think it would be if Texas, who beat Alabama, puts Alabama in when they're both one-loss teams.
Let me ask you this: does it hurt Texas that it's looking like they're not going to be able to avenge their only loss in the Big 12 championship game?
I kind of haven't thought about that. I don't think it necessarily hurts them. It's a one-loss team that lost on the final 4 plays in the final 1 minute and 19 seconds versus their biggest rival in the Cotton Bowl. Those games can easily go either way, right? I don't think that Texas. I don't think that Oklahoma is the kind of team this year that is this mighty team that would need to be avenged. Like they're saying, well, they can't. They got to slay the Oklahoma Dragon. It's not really an Oklahoma Dragon this year.
No, but if Oklahoma was a dragon and they slayed him back at the end of the season, I think that would help Texas.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I don't think Oklahoma's like an end boss, right? Like Oklahoma's not an end boss. If it were an end boss this year, I think that would be the case.
Well, this has been the argument over the last few weeks: is like, should we root for Oklahoma? I've never said Texas fans should. But that was a conversation over the last few weeks, especially when
Alexander Park had a couple good posts, his last couple, talking about the difference between 2008 2023, and then also Bama and Texas's resumes, with Bama having wins against Georgia, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and LSU, who are all top 20 teams. It's interesting.
Look, man, it's like we're gonna have to see how it.
Congratulations, you're going to the Fiesta Bowl against Washington.
Well, let's just man, one game at a time. Texas is going up to Amon G. Carter Stadium, where I was just there watching Quentin Johnston drop a bunch of footballs at his pro day. Man, that's what we're talking about now. So let's get to some more. Actually, do you know what? It's actually time. We got too many of these to get to. So we are going to get to the rest of the final takes. We have Thursday night football. We'll do the prize picks. We'll put them in for that. We got to put in a winner. Oh, Cody, yesterday your guys, the unabated guys, Bam, son. Give me a dap over that thing. Turn that 20 into a quick honey yesterday. So, man, we got some super chats from Chad Gibson. He's asking about Tyreek Hill. I just put in a trade for Tyreek Hill. I'm seeing if I can swindle Tyreek Hill and James Conner this week for Jamar Chase, who looks a little bit banged up. We're gonna talk about all this next.
Like the Texas Longhorn football team just tried to hurt your soul and your sanity and your ability to be calm and reasoned. But hey, this is why we watch the games. This is why we love the sport. The Longhorns advance to 5-1. They really haven't advanced anywhere, but they advanced with a win on the hair of their chinny chin chin. I know you guys were nervous. I was. At first and goal at the 7, there at the end, it felt like, holy crap, this is going to actually go down. And then Travis, give the Texas defense a lot of credit for stopping them 4 straight times inside the 7-yard line, but also give credit to Kansas State because every time they got into inside the 10, inside the 5 today, they tried to reinvent themselves a little bit away from the things that were working. I think Mr. Howard is a very angry individual right now in that Kansas State locker room, but who cares about him? The Longhorns are 5-1. They're in first place all by their lonesome at the moment in the Big 12. For now. They won't be in like 3 hours, but for now, they're alone in first place. They control their destiny to make the Big 12 championship game. And the toughest remaining game on their schedule, maybe, I won't get too far ahead of myself, but maybe just got finished and completed. Your initial reactions, Travis, to this one hell of a ball game. We got to give it that.
I was going to ask if Adam would sue the University of Texas football team on my behalf because they're going to kill me. I'm pretty sure that's coming. My wife will need some a civil lawsuit for sure. Or maybe Will Howard will need to sue Chris Kleiman because that was malfeasance at the end there. Look, I came into this game. I was the only mod that predicted Texas to lose, and it was solely based on what the pass defense does. That soft coverage that they've been running the last couple of weeks, it's criminal that Texas can only give up 33 yards rushing and be in a 1-score and need overtime to win this game. It's criminal. 18 yards rushing. It was 33 yards that they gave up against Houston, and they needed a stop on 4th down there. This is the thing I've been saying on my show every morning, by the way, 6:30 to 7:30, get your horns up on OB Live. This is the thing I've been saying all week, all for the last couple of weeks. Catch, when you watch this team, do you see a playoff team? Because I don't. I don't see a team that has put together a full, complete game, not once this entire season. They have good quarters. They have good flashes, but they haven't come out here and played a full, complete game at all, even against bad teams. And this is a good team that nearly punished them.
Oh, yes. All right. Football with friends. We're back. It's Alex. It's Cody. It's Blake. Man, it's a Final Takes Thursday. Getting out of here a little bit early this week. For you guys who didn't know, I will be out of town Friday. One of a few trips coming up here through the course of the holiday season where I got to get out, got to get into nature, man. What do the kids say, Blake? What do they say? I got to go touch grass. Or what is it? Feel grass, something, touch grass. No cap.
No cap, touch grass. No cap, touch grass.
No hat.
Touch grass. Yeah.
No,
Something like that.
No hat.
We just out here touching grass. No cap.
Okay, here we go. A super chat from Chad Gibson. Thank you so much, sir. $9.99 super chat. Oh, man, you guys are awesome, man. Thank you so much. If you have questions, you want to send them in, you get super chat them or just send them. Cody and I are here to answer. And also, while I'm asking for stuff, if you guys could please click like on the show. For every like that you give, that is absolutely one extra receiving yard that Xavier Worthy is going to get. Yeah,
10 extra receiving yards.
Okay, so Redmore knows what I'm saying. I got to touch. I got to touch grass.
Touch grass.
No,
I heard that one.
No hat.
No cap.
No cap. That's bussing. What does that mean?
That's bussing, son.
I got one of my I got one of my friends. It's a kind of a I don't want to call him a source because he's not like a source. He's a friend, but he's pretty high up in the football world, and he's a lot younger than me. And he texted me. He's like, "Hey man, do you have time to talk for a second?" I go, "Let me call you after my show at 5:30." And he goes, "Oh, bet."
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's like, what? I guess that means like, oh yeah, we're gonna bet. Like, all right, I'll bet on that or something. This is crazy. I should have texted him back. No,
it's just a confirmation.
I should have texted. I should have texted him back. No hat. Okay.
No hat.
This guy is a boomer.
Okay. I have Tyreek on a bye. Should I go with Amari Cooper versus? Oh, that's a tough matchup. Addison, New Orleans, or play both and bench Devontae. No, don't. I wouldn't.
Yeah, we have Adams the highest right now on our average, and then Cooper too, but he's got a 27th ranked matchup, and Addison is a 22nd ranked matchup. That's the order though. It's Adams, Cooper, Addison. Adams by a wide margin ahead of the other two.
How far higher is where's the model have Cooper versus Addison? Is it big difference?
8 for Adams, 32 for Addison. Cooper's at 11 in the model.
Oh, go with Cooper. If the model has him, I mean, the model is an idiot, right? It can't take anything into context at all. But that's why we all put in our own rankings too, right? If we all have him to where it's consensus, we'll go
Adams Cooper.
Adams Cooper. Although man, hasn't Addison? Oh gosh,
Lattimore's been
with
been
Osborne
solid.
out. Do you think that Addison could avoid Lattimore in the slot though? Slots have been killing New Orleans.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Hey, by the way, Cody, so you're hosting the SiriusXM show this weekend while I'm gone. Hey, do you have a co-host on it with you? I haven't even talked to you about it.
My main man, Matty Keewan.
So Matty Keewan's going to co-host.
Yeah, I got him on there. I'm going to do his show in the morning, and then I'm going to do our show in the afternoon.
You guys going to do the regular show, just the game by game?
Yeah.
You got to keep the pace with that thing, Cody. Hair on fire,
which is like I'm gonna actually make a show sheet this week because I know, like me and him when we do shows, it's like, yeah, let's do a sharp 25. Let's do a sharp 25, and it's like 50, and I'm like, damn.
All right, so yeah, tune in to hear Cody his first time solo hosting, and I guess not solo hosting, but his first time steering the ship on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, Saturday 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time. All right, final takes. What do we got?
Let's do this one. Best college football game of the weekend. I'll list out some contenders. You tell me which one is the best. All right. So we got Michigan, Penn State, 11 a.m. Alabama, Kentucky at the same time. Arizona, Colorado at 1. Miami, Florida State at 2:30. Tennessee, Missouri at 2:30. That's a ranked matchup.
That's it.
Little brother's going to that one.
He is?
Yeah, he's got, his buddies are Tennessee. His kid he goes to school with, his dad's a Tennessee fan, so they're driving down to Missouri. It's only like 8-hour drive or something.
Only you always because you drive like 21 hours at it. You're just like, oh man, I'm just heading to Virginia to Minnesota over the weekend. Just grab a Red Bull and just head out. Just like only 8 hours. Are you kidding me? That's okay.
Okay, so let me keep going. At the same time as Tennessee, Missouri, Utah and Washington.
Big.
And then night game, 6 o'clock, Ole Miss and Georgia.
Oh, that's a good one too. Is that that's the one that I'm going to oh gosh.
You got some choices.
I'm not going to be watching it. I'll be watching Texas, but that's a good one.
And then USC Oregon, the late game, 9:30.
Gosh, man.
I'm gonna miss the afternoon. I want to watch Utah, Washington, and Tennessee, Missouri, but I'm gonna miss that one because of radio. I think the two games I'm definitely gonna watch is I'm probably gonna watch that Michigan Penn State game because I think Penn State's rush defense may be able to slow Michigan down a little bit, but I just want to see if McCarthy can. I think McCarthy's the third best quarterback in this class, and I want to see him do it against the better competition. And I think this is a big stepping stone into that Ohio State game. And then the other one, I want to watch USC and Oregon at 10:30 on Saturday night, because I think that that's to the conversation we just had 10 minutes ago. Like that is the one. Like it's in Eugene, it's going to be tough, but like if there's going to be someone that that's the ultimate one right there. Like if you're talking about getting into the playoff, no questions asked, I think if USC could knock Oregon out, that would be.
What about Ole Miss, Georgia though? Because if Ole Miss,
yeah.
if Ole Miss were to, not saying they're good enough to do it, maybe they are, but if they beat Georgia.
It's in Athens though. That's tough. Game day.
Georgia, I mean, but doesn't Georgia now have to play Tennessee after a while too? They have Tennessee coming up and stuff. I mean, does anybody think that Georgia's just incapable of stubbing their toe at some point?
I mean, that's the thing is they just haven't. Yeah, I think the thing is that I think if Ole Miss wins this game, then that creates an SEC East championship next week in Knoxville.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, that's so yeah. So these are all interesting. Yeah, I mean, these all have interesting implications for Texas. I don't know.
One loss.
I'm just gonna enjoy watching football. Thank God we have these little phones and stuff. I could just sit in a blind all day and just sit and watch it, man. This could be awesome.
Richard Arias asked if Ole Miss is one loss. Their only loss is to Bama.
We don't need to be adding any kind of Ole Miss into these discussions, guys. Let's not get cocky. Like, golly.
I think you want that because I think Texas would be in over Ole Miss.
100%.
These guys are asking if I'm bringing any rattling horns out, man. I can't get up, but yeah, I'm gonna try and bring them. I don't like to use them. I feel like the only time that I ever use the rattling antlers is like once it gets to be like 10 a.m. and I'm just sure that nothing else is going to come, then I'll use them during prime time. I try and stay quiet. Do you guys just rattle during prime time? Maybe I should. I don't know. Do you guys rattle during prime time? I'd be interested to hear. Feels like prime time to me is the time where you just shut up and let what happens, but I'd be interested to hear. All right.
What about the other slate here? Biggest betting lock of the NFL weekend.
Well, that's a good point. So usually on Friday we talk about your 5 Circa picks. Circa lines came out today. Have you even had conversations about that?
No, dude. I went 4-1 last week. I know. I was probably insufferable in my text to you about it. 4-1, buddy. What do you think? The first one that jumped out to me was I want to fade the Chargers coming off of that giant win.
Just thinking the same thing.
They're such a poser team this year, and I think the Lions are getting healthier. They're getting David Montgomery back. I think 3 is just probably not. The Lions -3 was the one that stuck out to me at first.
So I'm not unabated. Usually we talk about these lines. There's nothing really aggressive. There's no big edges this week. The biggest edge right now is the Saints -2.5 in Minnesota, which this is generally a Minnesota drop spot coming off of a big emotional game because they barely ever have any, but it's a big emotional game. And now Dobbs has another week in the offense. Does it look the same? The Saints are playing better football. I don't love that one. I think I like the Steelers -3 against Green Bay at home.
I'm done betting on these Steelers, man. I'm just done.
The defense is just too good, dude, and Green Bay's not good. So I'm gonna go Steelers -3 at home against the Packers at 1 p.m. What do you think about the 16.5 line for the Cowboys?
The Cowboys, yeah, that's a crazy line.
16.5.
You know what? Siege is saying I can't believe Siege never bets favorites, and he's like, that line's not big enough. Tommy DeVito stinks, dude.
Bad, dude. They might not score in that game.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe 16. Like it just feels like the total fish thing to do to jump on a red hot Cowboys team with lay 16.5 points. That's the kind of thing where somehow Saquon Barkley breaks off a big touchdown run to start the game and they're up 7-0 and you're just thinking to yourself, oh my God, now I got to get 23.5 points to even get back to even with this. Like I've seen this. I've kind of read this. I've kind of read this story before. There was one last year where Houston, I forget who they were playing, but Houston was like 17-point dog to somebody, and I thought, man, it's probably not even enough just based on the circumstances with the team that week. And it was one of those where they just got off to a quick touchdown, and I was just like, oh God, like what was I doing? These are two NFL teams playing each other. How can I lay 16, 17 points?
So that's I think that probably a little bit of that goes into it is that was kind of what happened week 1. Remember, Dallas got up 40-0. They beat the Giants in week 1 in New York. off of that or what is it, a blocked field goal for a touchdown, field
I
goal.
forgot about that game. Maybe they're just going to beat them 40-0 again. I mean, they could beat the brakes off them, Cody.
But no, that's what I'm saying though. Like we just said about Saquon, like those things happen.
Yeah.
Like that's how that game started. It was a blocked field goal for a touchdown, a field goal, and then a pick six, and it was just done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there was no looking back.
Real quick, if y'all had no fantasy implications whatsoever, are you waking up at 8:30 for Indianapolis, New England?
Yeah, I mean, dude, we're gonna blink and football's gonna be over. Like I watch it all, man.
I want to see
like,
Jonathan Taylor.
You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be dying for it. We're gonna be starving for it. We're gonna be like parched in the middle of the desert. We're gonna be sitting here just like grinding film on prospects, and I love doing that. It's not like I hate, I love my job year round, right? But I mean, the reason I love it is because I love football. It's like that's what we're talking about. We're talking about football, and we talk about it year round, and it's fun. But yes, of course, it's an NFL football game. Absolutely.
A couple off that
until halftime.
I'll agree with Alex, but also say like these are two teams that we generally probably. I know I generally don't watch them like in my Sunday slate when I'm sitting there watching like.
If they were up against another game, you're probably not.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't watch that game.
Have you heard? Have you heard what's what the Patriots beat was the question that Belichick got today? I can't believe it finally came to this. That and I sent Blake for this for a suggestion for final takes.
Yeah, this is
he asked him if he asked Belichick was coaching for his job this weekend, and Belichick said he didn't get prickly about it. He just said like he was a Belichick. He's like I don't focus on things outside of my control. We're game planning for the game, and that's it. He just kind of said that. I can't. But for that narrative to have percolated up to where the local media is even asking about it, and specifically in regards to this game, I wonder where that came from. That why all of a sudden you got to beat Indy? I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know.
Is it going into a bye maybe?
Yeah, it all seems weird to me that he was directly asked if he was coaching for his job. I think it's probably a cockamamie idea. But anyway, little subplot. You could make it more interesting.
How about this one? Back to Texas TCU before we close the voting here in a little bit. More likely, Michael Taft, 4th straight interception, or Barron Sorrell gets a 3rd straight sack.
Well, Michael Taft just has to get an INT every week, right? Mr. Johnny on the spot, Westlake Chaparral. Come on, man. No, but look, to me, we talked about number 74 and number 77, the two offensive tackles for these guys. We went through and we did the exercise looking at the number of pressures that cockamamie PFF has for them and just compared them to the Texas guys. If we just looked at quarterback sacks, quarterback hits, quarterback pressures, or what they call hurries, plus the penalties, it's like these Texas offensive linemen are on a completely different level than these TCU guys, the guys who Sorrell has to practice against, these guys that Ethan Burke has to practice against. These guys are going to pin their ears back and do work on these tackles. So I think that Sorrell is going to be the one. I think it's a pretty obvious answer that Barron Sorrell is the more likely one.
Yeah, and the pressures he's been alluding to all year have been there like week after week after week. Whereas like Taft, like the interceptions are what they are. Like you can be around the ball as much as you can be around the ball, but you drop those, and I think it's definitely more likely that Barron Sorrell gets his 3rd straight sack. He also had a sack and a half in this game last year and double-digit tackles. So, I think this one's pretty easy, just for the likelihood too. Like if you would put a percentage on it, it'd probably be 74-26.
Yeah. Oh goodness, look at this,
guys! It's a landslide.
It's a landslide. Are we just gonna call it? I've seen it enough.
I think. You deserve a final statement from each.
Let's see if Cody can get that late night mail drop from King County or something like that. All right. Those guys on CNN and on the news networks, you say like, well, we got this one county that's not yet to report, but that they vote this way since ever.
Only reporting 15%.
Used to be the old iron worker town, a long time union town. So we're beginning. How do they know this for every county in the whole country? I guess if that's their job, they just know
that's their job.
Okay. Vote for Alex.
Let's start with your final score. Remember, reiterate that from the beginning of the show.
This guy's such a wiener, dude. He just says, vote for Alex 18 times during the whole show.
Well, I say that, and I also say to please make sure to like the show, subscribe to the channel. Also, if you'd like to contact me, you can, alex@rosterwatch.com. If you have show ideas, if you'd like to sponsor the show, you'd like to work with the show, connect with us in any kind of way, that's the best way to do it, alex@rosterwatch.com. Also, Blake put in the chat the link for Football with Friends merch. Always certainly appreciate that, and always appreciate you guys being here. First of all, I'd like to let the audience know that these are my friends first and foremost. Cody, unlike you, who looks down at them like they're a bunch of plebes. Okay. The second thing is
unreal.
Look, I'm here to have some fun. Okay. Today I've given the best answers. I've given the most complete answers. They've been backed by facts, science, data. I really just want to say thanks to the chat for being here. Thanks for being such an educated audience. And I certainly would appreciate your vote. I think that Texas does win here. I think that they win in convincing fashion. I feel like they come out loose. I know that Sark's going to tell them you can't be over distracted and overhyped like you were last year. Quinn does a good job of keeping them from getting that way, right? He's not going to go out and pump up the crowd like I'm Malik Murphy. He's going to go out there and be all business like he always is. I think that Xavier Worthy bounces back this week. I think that Barron Sorrell and Ethan Burke both get home. I'm not sure about the Taft interception. I think that T'Vondre Sweat continues to look as good as he has looked. And I'll bet you this too. Against have you guys heard anything this week about a 3-3-5?
Nope. No, I don't think I have.
Whatever happened to that thing?
I don't know. I guess they put it to rest last week.
So cockamamie. These people need to listen to football.
Oh, Harish has Texas 49-3. Damn.
Ooh.
That would be a whooping.
I can get on board with that.
All right. That's my final take.
What's your final score, though, Alex? Reiterate that from
31-14.
31-14. Cody?
41-13.
All right. So you guys can get your final bets in.
King County, we're waiting.
Okay, let's go to Prize Picks, Cody, and let's talk a little bit of Thursday night football action. All right. First, let's take a look and let's brag a little bit about. Let's see. Prize Picks wants to know my location.
Money.
Yeah.
They still don't have the Texas picks up, by the way.
What? They don't have Texas up yet.
Yeah, no Texas picks.
All right. So here we go. Let's go to the NFL board and look at tonight's games. Cody, I mean, I said it earlier, but I think it's a Deontay Foreman deal. If he got 20 touches last week, you look at the rush. Oh, God, they have it up now to 62.4 or 62.5. I liked it a lot earlier at 58.5. But what do you think about Chuba here in this spot? Feels like he's probably going to
Yeah.
Do you like Chuba? Like, what do you think? Or is there any that stood out to you that we could consider here?
Let me look here.
Cole Kmet's got to get more than gosh, man. Tyson Bagent loves him some Cole Kmet, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's been getting peppered, dude.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the over on the more on his receiving yards. Let's see the fantasy scores. But is Bagent really going to get 13? I guess he's done 13 points. Fantasy points. It's Carolina. They're just a lot easier to run on.
Yeah. And no Brian Burns.
No Brian Burns.
Yeah.
Gosh, dude, couldn't Thielen just fall into 15.5 fantasy points? In full,
is it half PPR? Is it full PPR?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
All
right, so the best lines on unabated are Chuba Hubbard north of 41.5 rushing.
That kind of stood out to me, right?
Deonta Foreman south of 7.5 receiving.
Do they have a receptions prop on Deontay? No.
I don't see.
Harish is asking you if they've got a Bryce interceptions number, and can you take a more on it?
I don't know if they have interceptions on this one.
Oh, on the right. INT.
Far right. There you go.
None on Bryce today.
Kenny Pickett, baby.
They don't want to be giving. They're not in the business of giving away money.
Yeah.
Let's
Colby
see.
asking, how do you have projections on your prize picks? It's a Roto Grinders plugin, correct?
Yeah, it's from my Roto Grinders extension.
Miles Sanders, 22.5 rushings also on here. That's the fifth
22 and a half more.
Yeah, the top 5 bets are Miles Sanders north of 22.5 rushing, Darnell Mooney south of 3 receptions, Deonta Foreman's receiving yards. So
I always hate. I'll always bet against Darnell Mooney. Is he been getting like 3 receptions?
3.0 is on here. He had one good game last week. You probably have to type his name in. He's probably buried. 2 O's. There it is.
It's just giving me the
got rid of the
yards.
receptions. They got rid of the receptions. Okay. And then Malik Washington against Louisville tonight. Virginia versus Louisville. Louisville's a ranked team. Malik Washington south of 102.5. That's the third best bet of the night on here.
Malik Washington south of that. Oh, Roto Grinders has him way south too. Less. All right. So what do we got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to pick one more.
That's interesting right there. Michael Penix is actually up from what his number was this morning. I remember Catch bringing that up. It was like 297 or something like that. Now he's at 302.
Yeah, these things change.
Jack Plummer, if you want to go to that same game, Jack Plummer, his projection's 31 yards north of 210 passing yards.
Jack Plummer, so they have him going over.
Yeah.
All right. Why not?
240.
Let's see if we can make a quick 5. Let's see if we can make a quick 5 honey here. Hold on. There we go.
Oh, huge.
Check out last night, Cody.
Bing bong.
Check this out.
You got to click past entries.
Oh. Lorenzo Lingard got it for us. Gage Laverdian, whoever that guy is, got there. Cade McDonald got there. It's great. This dude, this Joel Embiid, man. He was heating up towards the end of the game, but still swindled me on both of these.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see. Hey man, you win some, you lose some. We're gonna make a quick 5 honey tonight, guys. I can totally feel it. It's gonna be a great weekend for everybody. I know it will be. Apologies, we have to get out of here a little bit early this week, but we certainly always love to have you guys here with us. Cody's here every Friday. This week, every Thursday for the final takes. You can also hear him this weekend manning the ship on the SiriusXM show Roster Watch. We will be back on Monday to recap what is hopefully a big victory Monday for a whole lot of different reasons. So hope you guys have a great time watching the games tonight over the course of the weekend. I will be checking in with you guys on Monday. So Cody, do you got something to say? Oh,
Question of the day.
I put up the Christmas tree the day after the weekend after Thanksgiving.
So
I have a rule. I'm curious to hear what you say first, though, Cody.
I was gonna say mine's usually I think it's like December 1st. So that's like the next weekend, like a week later.
That's fine.
No, I'm usually a post-Thanksgiving guy, but I will say the rule to begin with is that it has to be closer to Thanksgiving than Halloween to put up your decorations. It cannot be closer to Halloween than Thanksgiving to put up your Christmas decorations. It's cockamamie.
Oh, but you're fine even before Thanksgiving for the Christmas stuff?
Yeah, it's okay. I'll allow it.
It only comes once a year, but just for Blake, it comes for like 8 to 10 weeks every single year. So
some people earlier in the chat were saying their tree's already up.
Oh man, our guy Harish is in the chat. What's up, brother? He's saying he's doing it tonight. Harish is going big. All right, dude. So hey, listen, for my guy Harish, for Cody, for Blake, for everybody in the chat, man, we love y'all. Would not be a show without you. But we're done.